exciting episode of the Vampire Priest. I'm going to be your host for today, Father Antonio. Today we're going to go over Volume 1 of Dragon Ball Super. I already saw the anime. There's a lot of good qualities for the anime, but at the same time, there's a lot less quality in the anime. This is more of filler stuff. There is one thing about this with Resurrection F. It does tell you to go check out the anime. So I guess there's no Resurrection F for the manga itself, but that's it. Again, just like the anime, it starts out. Well, actually, this one, it has Goku in the beginning, but he's reliving what happened with Boo, and him going crazy Super Saiyan, and Boo being defeated. So it takes place, just with the memory of Goku, the dream that he's had of Boo being defeated, and then we go from there, and just like the anime with him working and trying to get more powerful and having these imaginary battles. He's having imaginary battles with Boo, and he's there with his son. His son wants they want to give him more money. A lot of this stuff is just similar to the anime. Especially with Beerus's introduction and destroying the planet when he doesn't like the roaches that they feed him. And Goku wanting to get more powerful and to get stronger, so he goes back to King Kai's planet to train. But Beerus does learn about Super Saiyan God, and he goes looking for one. That's when he finds Goku on King Kai's planet. Except, I want to be as generous as possible, but Goku is very stupid in the Dragon Ball Super manga. Excellent fighter. His knack and his ability to be on point is next to none. And we understand that from the manga, from the anime, everything. However, in Super, it seems as if his intelligence dropped. Since Z, and this is supposed to be between the takes place during the Dragon Ball Z era. So right before the last couple episodes is supposed to take place. He's good. Even in Super Saiyan form, he's able to get the crap kicked out of him by Beerus. He really doesn't land any blocks, or he doesn't have any hits against Beerus, which is really tripped out because that Vegeta actually lands a couple blows on Beerus. And here we are. It says here that there's no. If you like to enjoy the partially in full, check the. Okay, so you got to check out the Battle of the Gods movie. That'll come out, and that gives you what's going on between Earth and Beerus and Goku, because the manga does go by very quickly. Obviously, compared to the anime, where every episode is a minute of real time. But even Goten and Trunks, they fuse and they get beaten up by Beerus. And Vegeta's scared of. Vegeta has flashbacks of Beerus as a child, and seeing his father kneel. But then when Bulma gets slapped by Beerus after she slaps him, Vegeta actually gets a couple of licks in. Goku doesn't. So that tells you right now how powerful it is. The closest that Goku gets to a couple of licks in is right here, where where Beerus is just smacking away his punches. But Vegeta actually holds his own for a few seconds there against the God of Destruction without turning out different kind of colors, just going regular Super Saiyan, and that's impressive. So they do the whole thing where they go looking for Shenron, and the whole thing with Shenron telling them how to become Super Saiyan God is actually a panel, and in that same page they end up doing it. So when you watch the anime, it's like 15-minute episode, 20 minutes, an whole episode before that happens. Here it's literally one page where it does that. And it looks like the Super Saiyan God is not that important, so they do a close up. Because when he goes Ultra Instinct, they actually pull out and show him. But as a guy, Goku does hold his own. Even though he gets beaten up by Beerus. He does hold his own. And then you have what's left of the Frieza Force coming around looking for the Dragon Balls. We starts the training with Vegeta and Goku. That's when we learn about Champa. We also hear about the nonsense between Champa and Beerus. It's all about food. Beerus didn't like what Champa offered from Universe 6. They had a big fight, destroyed a whole bunch of planets, killed a whole bunch of people before they said, hey, let's do who can do the best foods. You know, we put the kibosh on that. And his sister. They're like, hey, you know, instead of just fighting each other and killing the universe, let's do something more humane. So that's why they're always trying to present each other with the best foods. And through all of that, that's when we find out about the planet-sized Dragon Balls and the whole combat between Universes 6 and 7. Now, again, this happens all in just a few pages. Actually, this part right here, where Bulma goes to confront him, actually takes a longer time in the manga than some of this other stuff with Beerus and Champa. Yeah, so Goku and Vegeta, they do their training. They go to the cube. They meet Nipples, and they start the war with. So now this is Frost, and I really like that in the manga. Frost starts off in his basic form, and through his combat and his fighting with Goku, we actually see him turning into what we know of in the anime. Which I would have really liked that, because you see Goku leveling up every time as well. And surprisingly, out of Dragon Ball Super, this is my new favorite. Kabe. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Kabe. See, because in the anime, sometimes he's pronounced Kabe, and sometimes it's Kaba. So I don't know if it's just the voice actors, or you do it, but it looks like it's supposed to be Kabe. So I'll just call him Kabe. He's my favorite of the new Super. And right away we see that Vegeta takes a shining to him, and just like in the anime, they do the stupid test, the written test to see if you could be in it. Look, if you're gonna be fighting, there should not be a written test, because you know you're gonna be losing brain cells. You're gonna have brain damage going into a fight. Boo already is at a disadvantage. He has 0 education. Goku already has the brain damage, so it's difficult for him to process that kind of information, the book smarts. And as a Saiyan, and how he became brain damaged, all he really understands things is through combat. So unless he is taught mathematics and history, everything that he needs to know, you need to know as a kid in the form of combat. If there's some kind of combat language, he's not going to understand it. He's not going to know it. So he's at a disadvantage there. That part is not his fault. So I'm not knocking him for that. But it does show that, you know, how intelligent he really is, as opposed to how his brain is able to process information. Kind of like Bizarro Superman, you know, extremely intelligent. However, because there is so much damage to the brain and to the tissue himself, he's not able to articulate it or to convey all of that intelligence. So it comes out as grunts or as foolishness. That being said, Goku is dumb. He's really stupid. I can't emphasize that enough. So we do see him, and we see all of this fighting going back and forth. We find out about Frost. Uh, no, actually, I think it's in volume 2. So I'm getting ahead of myself. But the combat is very similar to the anime. When it comes to the actual combat stuff itself, I suggest watching the anime because that is a lot better and fuller. The action is great. It's a lot better. And some of these combat scenes in the manga, they go by quick. Like Goku versus this big yellow guy, who I'm just calling Universe 6 version of Winnie the Pooh, because that's exactly what he looks like, Winnie the Pooh. Just like a big fat version. But we see how Frost is different than Frieza, because when he's first introduced, he's a nice guy. It's like, hey man, let me shake your hand. How are you doing? But this fight scene, the fight panels with Frost and Goku are pretty intense. I would have loved to seen it this way in the anime, and hopefully during the reboot that's supposed to be coming out later on this year and that they're working out throughout 2026, we'll see these little added touches come back and forth. Not everything changing, because the anime and the manga they follow the same path, but should be different enough so that the reader and the viewer can like both. And again, yeah, there's stuff around. We'll get to some of that stuff later on, especially revolving Krillin. But the fights with Frost, again, he's just going from one form to the other, and Goku is pretty intense. I really liked it. Until we finally, it ends with, him going to his final form, and we see that something bad is actually going to happen. We do have like little previews and little excerpts at the end of the mangas. I'm not sure if it's all of them or just some of them. Those are intended, to drag you over, help you transition from Z to Super, and sometimes even for kids. Like this one here, I wasn't a big fan of it. Regarding looking for the Dragon Balls and everything that's going on, because King Kai does want to come back, and so he gets all the Namekian Dragon Balls to make the wish, and as soon as he conjures the dragon, let me get his name right, Porlinga. So the Namekian dragon, he comes in, Goku appears out of nowhere and asks for a wish. He grants it, and that's it. Kikai is still dead. I think that's going to be a running joke throughout the rest of the Dragon Ball sagas, that Kikai is just wanting to come back, but he can't. But let me know your thoughts, questions, opinions about Dragon Ball. I know there's a lot of supers here. Don't forget about supers. Spoilers. Don't forget to like, share, discuss, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and let me know what you think. You prefer the manga over the anime? If so, why? If you prefer the anime over the manga, why?